with that out of the way, let's move on to the next topic today. And the next topic today comes to us from Troy Leggett, who writes, "Hey, John. Like you, I'm one of the guys who actually liked Justice League despite all of its flaws. I was wondering if you saw that image of Darkseid Zack Snyder shared on social media. Wanted to know what you thought of the image and if you think adding Darkseid would have made the movie any better." All right, thanks a lot for the email, Troy. So, yeah, many of you guys know a lot of the unfortunate drama surrounding the Justice League movie. Zack Snyder, who of course directed Man of Steel, which is awesome. He also directed Batman vs. Superman, which I enjoyed, but both films were very divisive amongst people. He also made this Justice League movie. However, before he could complete the Justice League movie, there was, of course, a tragedy in his family. They announced he was stepping away. Joss Whedon stepped in to oversee the completion of the film and oversee post-production. A lot of massive reshoots. Some rumors that Zack Snyder was actually fired off the project before they announced the family tragedy thing and all that kind of... It's a whole jarbled mess. Anyway, this past weekend, Zack Snyder took to his social media, and the social media he uses is, what's it called, Vero? Is that the name of it? Something like that. It's not Twitter, it's not Facebook, it's this other alternative social media thing, but it's the one he uses, and he's used it for a while. And he put up this image with the caption on it says, "The bell can't be unrung." And of course, this was an image he was going to have in Justice League. It's a tablet, clearly with an image of Darkseid on it, with what looks like a form of a mother box in the middle. This was going to be some foreshadowing of things to come. And then, of course, it was known that it was part of the plan that Darkseid was going to appear in the end of Zack Snyder's version of the movie. Now, I don't know how I feel about Zack Snyder sharing this. Personally, I think it's just Zack Snyder giving Warner Brothers the middle finger with all the talking that he's been doing about it, which kind of adds credence to the notion that he was probably let go from Justice League, even, notwithstanding the stuff with the family tragedy. Be that as it may. So this was an image that was going to possibly appear in the film. The big question, though, as you brought up, is, do I think the movie would have been any better had they added Darkseid to the movie? Well, the answer to that question is an emphatic no. Let's put it this way. You guys know I actually like Justice League. I went to go see it in theaters at least 7 times. I can't remember if I went to see it the 8th time or not, but I had a lot of fun with it. Yes, it made mistakes. Yes, the film had problems. Absolutely. I'm not denying any of that. Absolutely it did. Mustache Gate and everything else notwithstanding, the horrible looking villain, Steppenwolf, just CGI and Steppenwolf was just terrible. All that kind of stuff. I acknowledge all of that, but you can acknowledge that something had problems and yet still enjoy it, and I still enjoyed the film. I went to the theater multiple times to watch it. But a lot of people didn't, and I can understand why. And it was very divisive, and it got people upset, just like Batman vs. Superman was very divisive, and a lot of people didn't like it. Just like Man of Steel was very divisive, and a lot of people didn't like it, even though I think it's a top 10 comic book film of all time, but that's just me. Do I think had they added Darkseid made it better? No. No. Because it doesn't matter what characters you put in a movie if you don't use them right. Steppenwolf is an amazing character. Amazing character. You could have built a damn great movie around him as your antagonist. But they botched it. Dr. Doom is a magnificent. You talk to comic fans, Dr. Doom, one of the top antagonists. One of the top. Dr. Doom is an incredible character. Did just throwing him in to Fantastic Four movies make those movies any better? No. Whether it's a Galactus. Amazing. Just drop him in a movie. Does that mean it's automatically better? No. It has nothing to do with the characters that you pull out of the comic books. It's how you use them. It's how you structure them. It's how you build narrative around them. It's how they execute the stories. It's all about how you use the characters, not about which character you just happenly to drop in there. And before any of you guys who want to, cry to the heavens, if Zack Snyder had directed the whole thing, more people would have liked it. Zack Snyder directed the whole Batman vs. Superman movie, and look how that turned out. I liked it. Some of you liked it too, but it was completely divisive and divided everybody and was the lowest grossing movie. Not the lowest grossing, but Batman vs. Superman was a very divisive film, turned a lot of people off, that ultimately led to Justice League being the lowest grossing movie of the thing because it just created a problem. Zack Snyder directed the whole Man of Steel. I love it. I think he did an awesome job on that, but most of you guys, for some reason, disagree. And you found it to be a bad movie and divisive, and you didn't like it. And that's fine that you didn't like it. That's totally fine. It is what it is. The point here is for people to say, had you added Darkseid and had you had Zack Snyder finish it off and direct it, it would have been great and people would have loved it. Maybe that's true, but history says otherwise. We had movies that he directed entirely. We had a couple of them. Did they automatically work out great? No. He had a guy like Doomsday. He had a Doomsday character he could put in. And did he, look, I like Batman versus Superman. I hated what they did with Doomsday. And most people hated what they did with Doomsday. But Doomsday is this great iconic character in the comics, the one that killed Superman, blah, blah. Yeah, you could have done great things with him, but just drop him in didn't make that movie any better. Now look, I'm a Zack Snyder fan. But this whole thing of let's pretend that if Zack Snyder had just stayed on board with Justice League, that it would have worked out better. I mean, that's possible. It is. It's possible. But like I said, history says otherwise. Precedent says otherwise. So would have dropping Darkseid in there made it any better? I don't think so. I think you still would have had the same movie, just with a cooler character that ultimately disappointed people, just like Steppenwolf disappointed people. So I really don't think it would have made things any better. But that's just my opinion. I could be dead wrong about that. Anything is possible. Who knows? All right. With that out of the way, let's move on to the next team.